Here with Regina, and Regina has actually gone through the 10-week perimenopause freedom formula already. And what I'm doing is I like to interview people that have been past the initial 10 weeks because there's a lot of programs out there that get you interviews while they're in the moment, and it sounds good. But I like to show uh, women what can happen afterwards. So, Regina, how long has it been since you went through the initial 10 weeks? How many months?
Gosh, it's been what, 3?
3 months. That's what I had, about
Yeah.
3 months.
Mhm.
So Regina's 3 months post the 10 weeks perimenopause freedom formula. And we're going to dive into where she was, what she went through, and where she is now. So, first of all, let's go ahead and let's talk about you for a minute. Tell us a little about yourself, your age, your family, what you do for a living. Tell us about your life.
Well, I'm 49. I'm knocking on that 50. I'll hit that in December. Um, I am a nurse by profession, but I am a restaurateur. I'm a chef, so I have a catering company and a restaurant. I have another business that I run, and I help my husband manage his business as well. So that keeps me busy. Have 2 kids. I have a teenage son, and an 8-year-old daughter. So I got a lot of plates spinning. So I do that. I'm involved in just about everything there is to be involved in, and on probably too many boards. Um, but I feel strongly about affecting my community and giving back. So I do a lot of that as well.
Let's go back a ways back. Let's talk about where you started from when me and you first started working together, where you were mentally, what you were struggling with, your symptoms, what you had tried that wasn't working, especially now we're going into the perimenopause phase. So tell us a little about when you first started off and how you felt, everything that was going on with you when we first started working together.
Well, I know that for a couple of years, I know that I've really kind of struggled, not feeling like living in my body, but not feeling like it's mine anymore, feeling like a lot of things have changed, and realizing this is part of life. And I get that. But being really frustrated that the things that I used to do when I tried my 20s, it's not working.
Right.
I'm going back and doing the same workouts, doing the same things, but it's just not working. I mean, I would lose a little bit of weight, but then I would find that it would stop, or um, just wasn't making much headway in it. Feeling very defeated, um, feeling very isolated,
Mm,
alone.
yeah.
And I think some of that is just what we walk through at this point in our lives, too. There's a lot going on hormonally. There's a lot going on at this time in your life where you start evaluating your life as well, where you're like, am I where I thought I would be? And if I'm not, oh my gosh, what am I? How many more Christmases do I have before it's all done? I think you really start evaluating your life. And some people might turn and go into a midlife crisis or something like that. But I think for me, it was about, what can I do to make sure that I am here in the best health that I can be for as long as I can be, because I have really young kids. I had kids late in life. And so for me, it was about, how do I how do I enjoy the fruits of my labor? And it was getting to the point that I wasn't enjoying a whole lot. Um, I noticed my moods were changing. I noticed that my energy level was different. I was forgetting more things that I never forgot. It was just a lot, and just feeling, you start to feel like your value is slipping at some point. That, am I still relevant?
Yes.
Am I still, when do I give this up? When do I want to go out on top, or do I want to just fade off and become, oh, she was great at what she used to do, but now, she's slipping, and I think I started to evaluate that too. And I'm like, hold on, I'm not even 50 yet. I am nowhere near the point where I should be thinking that I should be hanging it up. But if
Yeah.
I'm going to continue at this level, I have to get myself in a place that I can continue at this level, because what I was doing was just running myself into the ground. I would get up in the morning, after staying up half the night doing stuff, get up early in the morning, wouldn't eat until maybe 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock that night. And I justified it all. Like, I'm so busy and so important that I don't have time to eat or go here or do that, or, and realizing now that that was just a way for me to say, I'm not important. When I to the world, it's like I was so important because I didn't have time to do this. Well, no, basically what I was telling myself was I wasn't important enough to do those things for
Yeah.
myself.
Talk about also a big key point that I remember was that you had a lot of irritability. Irritability, wasn't very happy with yourself and just your life, moods and stuff.
I think
That's
the
a big
real
factor.
yeah, the real turning point for me was when I went to the doctor and they did blood draws on me, and I'd been watching like my numbers kind of creep up, and then all of a sudden they jumped to a level that I was like, "Oh my gosh." I mean, I'm a nurse. I know what these numbers mean.
What
I
numbers are
know
you speaking specifically about? Give me some
my
numbers.
cholesterol was
Okay.
high, but my triglycerides were getting really high. My blood sugars weren't quite diabetic, but they were like 1 or 2 points. So basically, they were diabetic.
Mhm.
And just looking at it, going, if I don't get this train turned around, I know exactly where the destination is headed.
Mhm.
And I think for me, that was a big factor for me, because I realized at that point I still have the ability, the time to turn it around. If I keep trekking down this path, though, there will come a time where I can't turn it around. You can always be better than you were, but at some point, if you don't do something different, you might be diabetic for the
Right.
rest of your life if you don't do something different. And I didn't want that life for me, and I don't want it for my kids. I don't want my kids to have to alter what their plans are. Like, oh, well, we can't take mom there, or mom's not going to want to go there, or, I didn't want to do that. I want to be able to travel and do things with my kids that um, one day one day I might not be able to, because I'm in my 80s or 90s or whatever, but I don't want to be that in my 60s,
Yeah.
you
So
know?
after going through the 10 weeks, let's talk about where you are now. I mean, you went through the 10 weeks. We met weekly, one on one, worked through the different issues, the mental aspect. What changed in regards to where you are now? Like, how do you feel? How much weight have you lost?
From when I started in January, I've lost, I think, 44 pounds.
44 pounds. And what has your family noticed about your changes now? Yeah, you're smiling. I love it.
We've been going bike riding a couple of nights this week, and my husband bought a new bike for our daughter who's been wanting to ride, and now she's learned to ride. And so, every other night it's, oh, okay, we're done with dinner, let's go for a bike ride. And you know, that's that's great that that's part of our culture of who our family is now.
But
That
was it before though? Riding a bike? Would you even entertain that?
I rode a bike regularly when my son was 10, because he was wanting to learn to ride a bike.
Right.
Um, so he's 16, he's almost 17 now. So it had been a long minute before since I'd been on a bike.
What about the people you work with?
Um, okay, so one of my workers came in the other day and it was her day off. She's not usually works with me, and she showed up at my door and I said, "What are you doing here?" And she came in and she's like, "I got to talk to you about." She goes, "I have to lose some weight. I got to get myself together. I'm going to have surgery." And she's like, "Can you help me?" And I'm like, I don't feel qualified to help anybody. I mean, I'm like, I just don't. I'm like, I'm just, every day trying to be a little bit better than I was the day before, and I shared with her um the importance of protein, and showed her some of my meal plans and said, this is kind of how you can kind of structure um things to have a stronger body, not just not just walk. I said, get some resistance, that sort of thing. And, I offered her, I said, you could call my trainer, he's really good. But just to have somebody come in and be like, hey, I see what you're doing. And um I, I'd like you to share. And it's not just her, it's several people have come to me and said, what are you doing? What I mean, because it seems sustainable,
Yeah.
because they've watched me. And there are times when we go out, I'm gonna have that taco and they're like, wait a minute, you're eating a taco? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm having a taco today. So yeah. you
Since you
know
brought up since you brought up the word sustainable, the people that are watching this right now, and you said menus, I want to be clear. I don't even know what menus you showed them because you told me what foods you wanted to eat, and I created the menus in the right portions for your
right.
body. But I want that to be clear because people always want to see the menus. And I'm like, those menus are what Regina picked out. Her foods. It's called the FYL, Foods You Love. And so, telling people that you eat the foods you love with what you want on it, sour cream, ranch, dressing, all that stuff like that, that's probably a big shocker to a lot of them, was it not?
It is, because they're like, why do you eat a tuna fish sandwich every day? Because I like it.
You picked it out.
Like, because people are like, well, then that must be what I need to do. And I'm like, not if
No,
you don't like tuna.
no,
Like, what?
exactly.
Why would you do that? I said, for me, it's easy and I like it. I actually look forward to it because I'm like, and for me, it's easy because before it was a kind of a burden to think about what am I going to make myself for lunch? Whereas, because that's all I do all day is deal with food, cooking for other people and that sort of thing. So it became easy for me to be like, I know what I'm having for lunch. It's weighed out. Here it is. When it's 1 o'clock, I'm walking in there, I'm sitting down, I'm eating a sandwich.
To be clear, that's because you choose to do that. I want the audience to understand Regina chooses that. She can eat, there, any food on earth, if it's here, I make it work for Regina. If she tells me I want to eat this, it's the portions and the way I dial that in. And then, eating foods you love, that's where the sustainability comes in. It's like, I like this food and I'm losing weight and losing belly fat and my energy levels are going up. So that's where the sustainability comes in. What would you say has changed overall mentally for you?
I think overall mental for me is that um just knowing that the choices and things that I'm making, it used to be about a goal of what the scale said or what my pant size was at. And I think now what's more for me, it's about how I feel today. It's about I just ran up those steps and I'm okay. I'm not winded, or it's more about the things that these changes have made for my life and the things that I'm doing. I know when I first started working with you, I was one of those crazy people that weighed every single day.
Yep.
And you were right. It was a barometer of how my day was going to go. Because
How your mood's going to be dictated is by
absolutely.
what's that number going to say, and I'm
Right.
going to decide what kind of mood I'm in. Which
Right.
like I tell people, when you're on the scale, it's just what you weigh under gravity at a given moment in time. That's it.
Right. And I think whenever I moved away from that, it was so funny because I was thinking yesterday, I'm like, when was the last time I weighed myself? And I could not really remember the last time I had walked in there and done it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that is huge because that was something I was almost addicted to. What did the scale say today?
Right. So, Regina, I want you to address the people and the women listening right now. It's been 3 months since you went through the initial 10. And have you kept the weight off?
I have.
And I want you to tell the audience too something that most people just won't believe unless they hear it, straight from somebody. Tell us about you went on a 7 day vacation
Yep.
and it was all buffet, right?
Yeah, it was. We went back to California to show our kids where we used to live. So
Mhm.
it's not just buffet, it's taking our kids to all of our old favorite spots.
Yeah.
Okay, right? It's like taking the alcoholic to the to the bar and say, "Have
Yes.
here you go," you know. Um, so I knew it was going to be a challenge. I was totally freaked out about it. I mean, you and I had that discussion. Like I was almost to the point that I didn't want to go. I mean, because I was so worried about what that would look like, feel like, what the challenges that I would come up against doing that. And so for me, it was about me getting there and realizing, hey, wait a minute, we ate out every single meal. For 7 days, we ate out at my favorite places. And what I did is, you gave me a really great tool to take pictures of my portions. Like I
Yeah.
would make my plate, take a picture of the portion. That way I had it with me. So I had a visual representation of what my portions look like.
And to
And
be clear, it wasn't a picture of what she had to eat. It was just showing your portions.
right, the
And with that,
size.
yes, the size,
Yes.
not what you ate, what you wanted to.
Right. And for me, it's easier for me because this is the world I live in, being a chef. I know what 4 ounces looks like. You know what I'm saying? So for
Yeah.
me, but it was clear that when you see it on a plate, and then I was able to say, okay, yes, I'm having this, but let's box this portion of it up. Or a lot of times my son, who's 16, will reach over and eat it, which, he's happy for the extra calories for him. Um, but to be able to do that, and you know what? We went to San Diego. I mean, we went to San Francisco, and I had some sourdough bread, you
Yeah.
know, but within a certain portion, and I planned for it. And at the end of that trip, I finally got on the scale, and I was like, "Holy crap! I lost 3 pounds."
Lost 3 pounds while eating out every night because here's number one thing: you're not carb sensitive. The way I've set you up and stabilized your blood sugar, you're no longer carb sensitive. So, and you watched your portions by using some visual tools that we put together and going on vacation. Most people come back from vacation where they gain 8 pounds easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so afraid. And I've had so many things. Like I went on 2 vacations. I mean, since I started, I've been on 2 vacations. I've had surgery. I mean, all these things that I've had to walk through, just that would normally derail me or discourage me or honestly give me an excuse as to why I just can't do this right now.
Yep.
I'll just wait. I have to get through this before I can do it. And you know what? Every single part of your life, there's always going to be a reason.
But we
There's,
made it so sustainable for your life and how it works into your particular situation is why there's no throwing in the towel there because you're doing it. Me and you work together to make it where it's your way. So what I'd like you to do is for all the women watching right now, there's a lot of women that see me on social media, and I call it they sit on the sidelines because I can see when they're interacting and what they're absorbing the information, and I found through talking to them later they wait 3, 4 months. One lady, it took a year for them to actually step forward and say, "I need some help." And I don't, there's a big fear there because there's shame. I should know how to do this. This isn't something I should need help with. You're a nurse, and
yeah.
nurses always say, "I know what I'm supposed to do. I just don't do it." But what do you say to the women that need help but just keep sitting on the sidelines and afraid to ask? What would you tell them?
I think for me, that once I did step out, because for me, it was kind of shame. I think as women, we know when that point is, but it's hard for us to step out and say, hey, you know what? I maybe can't handle this because we take pride in being everything to everybody. It's hard for us to step out and say, hey, I need someone to be this for me.
Yes.
And, I would encourage people to do that because I can't even imagine had I mean, had I continued down the path that I was going down, I mean, just another 4 months, I would have gained more weight and, spiraled even more. And who knows where my blood levels would have been. And just, I was just tired. You got to get to the point where it's like, I'm tired of choosing this for my life because it
Yeah.
is a choice.
It is, and I can tell you, those of you watching, you can't tell because this is the first time you've seen Regina. She's constantly smiling when we coach now, when we're on our Saturday calls with all the women. Wasn't the case when we first started, and wasn't like, horribly a bad place, but she just was not happy. And the biggest thrill for me is seeing women actually find a solution to lose the weight. Yes, she's lost a lot of weight, but you haven't heard her talk too much about that, and all the other benefits come with it, and just having a better quality of life. So, thank you so much for getting on here and telling everybody your story. I know that's a big step for a lot of people, but if this resonates with you and you're watching this right now, I want to encourage you to private message me where everyone doesn't see it and just say, I need help. And then I will be there for you and I'll get the ball rolling and we'll just start talking and seeing where you're at, what's going on, and how I can help you or not. Regina, final words. Would you say that the process of me just talking to people, finding out whether it's very non aggressive, just calm talking, just seeing what's going on with the individual and seeing if, we got something to offer them?
Right. I would agree with that because we don't take much time to stop and analyze, hey, what am I really thinking? Or what why am I doing this? Or why have I done this? Or why do I believe this?
Yeah.
And I think to have somebody say, hey, we're going to take an hour and just talk about you, like we're like, well, who has time for that? Somebody wants to talk about me for an hour, like it's so foreign to us that we just don't even know how to almost operate in it, you know?
And women are so used to people, especially a man, getting on the phone and saying, "Okay, well, here's how much it's going to cost." You have, I mean, I do things backwards. I talk to everybody for an hour, and then we decide if this is a fit for everybody or not. And if anything, what I feel good about is you walk away with a lot of knowledge about yourself and opened up your thought process. So good stuff there all around. So, thank you again for being on, and